Welcome to Alabama. It's about 11 a.m. It's about 90 million degrees. Very, very humid outside. Very, very sticky. I just got inside the state, over the state line with Florida, right over there. So I've been in Alabama for about 2 football fields now. And I am already feeling very, very welcomed. I know what you're thinking. I don't know a lot about Alabama. As you can see, it's between Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida down there. It's the Union's 22nd state as of 1819, apparently on December 14th. And now you know as much about Alabama as anyone could ever hope for us to know. Knowledge is power. Basically like right here, barely inside of it. But I can already say with confidence that as crazy as Florida was, Alabama is the nuttiest place I've been all week. Look at the size of that peanut. Yes, the first thing that greets visitors to the state of Alabama is this giant, welcoming peanut. You might be asking yourself, why? Why is there a giant peanut greeting visitors to the state of Alabama? Well, as you may or may not have heard, there's actually a big election coming up in the United States of America. And the sign under this giant peanut here says, this symbol is to let you know you are in the wiregrass area of Alabama, claiming peanut capital of the world. Now humans, we're allowed to vote in primaries anywhere. We can even vote by mail. But it's a little known fact that peanuts actually have to travel to their capital to vote. I'm not sure why they let peanuts vote at all, to be honest with you. I mean, everybody knows they always vote for Jimmy Carter. I originally pulled over to this rest area because they sell Sweet Home Alabama t-shirts in there. The only problem is they can't sell me any Sweet Home Alabama t-shirts because they're closed today because there's no power here. Which makes the bathrooms in there very dark and makes the people that are going in and then when they come back out, they're just so grumpy looking. Let the grid go down, Lord. I don't need it. It's okay though, because I've always known you can find surprising things at welcome centers when you come inside of states. And Alabama is no exception. Look at that. There's a helicopter up on a pole there. And it looks like it's been here since 2018. Wait a minute. It's a helicopter from the future. Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine out of a helicopter? I see, if you're gonna build a time machine, why not do it with some style? I love whenever you see helicopters or jets up on poles or pylons on the side of the highway. I mean, not only is it a great reminder of the heroes in our armed forces, but what a great way to showcase the skill of that pilot who landed a helicopter on top of that. Wowee, this guy could land anywhere. Now sincerely, one of the things that annoys me about traveling in the South is how much other people are really biased against it. People have a lot of misconceptions about the American South in their minds. It's hardly the 1860s or even the 1960s anymore, and the South is a beautiful, wonderful, very welcoming place that honestly doesn't always deserve the stereotypes that people in other regions give it. Having said that though, right over here on the word Army is a sticker that says, secede. I don't make this stuff up, folks. I just report on it. Well, if they're gonna secede, I hope they don't take this pilot with them, because boy, what a landing. You can usually learn a lot about a state from stopping at their welcome centers. They usually have free maps, lots of historical or informational signs or pamphlets, and military aircraft. And most importantly, you can learn a lot about local culture and religion, which can really keep you safe out here. For example, when traveling in any foreign land, it is always wise to offer a sacrifice to the local deities to keep you safe.
Oh, mighty Peanut, I have brought to you a sacrifice. Please do not smite us on our journey through your lands.
I believe the peanut has been pleased. We may travel in safety now. Now, my original plan from going home was to go from Orlando all the way across I-10, all the way back to California. But when I woke up this morning, I noticed that the weather was saying it was going to be very bad for this whole region here. So because by the end of it only adds an hour or two, I'm going up the state of Alabama, up to Memphis, and across a higher road in the United States. My aim being to get home as fast as possible with the least amount of rain as possible. So I can't stop as much as I did on the way out, which is really annoying because everywhere I turn is something like this. Look at the size of that peanut! What'd I tell you about Alabama being the nuttiest place in the world? Look at this one, even has some sort of thing so that the peanut can wiggle in the breeze and say USA! USA! They even have a national peanut festival here, and oh my gosh, look at, there's peanuts all over the ground for some reason. I was just joking before. I didn't know sacrificing peanuts to giant peanut idols was a real thing. That's weird. Okay. Time to be moving along. Time to be moving along. Oh, Sweet Home Alabama. I have been driving and driving through Alabama all day long, and I've been trying my best not to stop, or at least to stop as little as possible. But I kid you not, I have seen 5 other helicopters up on poles today. Look at this. We've made it all the way to Troy, Alabama, home of the Trojans, naturally. Like every great town, they've got their mascot here, probably a neat football team, and their helicopter on a pole. This one's got a machine gun pointed right at us. Welcome to Troy. We don't mess around here. Look at this cute little municipal park. There's our bandstand and our little benches. We can have movies, maybe, little concerts. And I feel like a lot of little towns have this right here, like the monument to their fallen veterans, all the different people who died in wars from this town. A lot of them have cannons. Usually they have like really old cannons. This looks like, I don't know, when would you think this cannon was built? It looks a little more industrial, you know, than say like a Civil War cannon or something like that. This looks like World War I, question mark? But not a lot of towns that I know of back home have helicopters up on pole shooting at things. Wait a minute, is that helicopter shooting at the Trojan? Is he shooting at the Trojan? Oh, Troy, stop it. Stop fighting with yourselves. You're tearing yourself apart. Weird. Also, the water tower over there says Troy. Trojan territory. They are very, very into their name here, which is really cool. I like when towns are like really into their name, like Sparta, home of the Spartans, and then they have different things. But if your town is called Troy, shouldn't you have a big wooden horse right here? No, wait a minute. What am I talking about? It was the Greeks that used the horse to attack Troy. So why would Troy want to have a horse? Maybe that's why they need a helicopter, to protect themselves from horses. I get it. I really didn't have that much time to stop, but I had to point out that is literally the 5th one. Never have I seen so many helicopters on poles before in any one state, much less like, you know, one stretch of highway. Crazy. All right, after a little bit of driving, I finally reached Montgomery, Alabama. This is the state capital, so I thought, why not pull off the highway and see if you can actually get a glimpse of the state capitol. I'm pretty sure I found it, but I'm a little weirded out because there's nobody in town. Like, it seems completely and utterly abandoned. Oh, thank goodness, there's some people right there. I thought we were gonna be like in a zombie movie situation or something for a second. Ooh, here it is right here. The Alabama State Capitol. Now, there's a couple of things I happen to know about this Capitol building right here. First of all, this is where the Selma to Montgomery March, you know, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and all that. This is where it ended. I was listening to an audiobook about Black history as I drove through Alabama today, so I remembered that part because it ended on my birthday, March 25th. I also happen to know that this was the first capital of the Confederacy. This is where the southern states that seceded from the Union met up and created the Confederate States of America, right here. So this is a very important, very historical building in a very historical place for several different reasons, obviously. What I did not know, and I just learned from those signs over there, is this building was built in 1850, I think, and that this hill that it's sitting on is called Goat Hill. Like, I get when there was nothing here, and maybe a guy had a farm here, and maybe there were some goats on it, like, oh, that's Goat Hill over there, but you would think, once you built your beautiful Capitol building on the hill, you'd try to downplay the old name, but not here in Montgomery. No, they like to remember their history. So much so that right here next to the Capitol building is a statue of the president. Not the president of the United States, the president of the Confederate States. That right there is a statue of Jefferson Davis. This is the place where old Jeff Davis was sworn in as the first president and only president of the Confederate States of America. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure there's some kind of plaque or star or something up here. There it is, right there. Look. Look at this. Placed by Sophie Bibb Chapter. It's a weird name. Daughters of the Confederacy, on the spot where Jefferson Davis stood when he was inaugurated president of CSA, February 8th, 1861. So old Jeff Davis would have walked out these doors, stood right here on this star, looked out there, and become the president. Probably seemed like a good idea at the time. Spoiler alert, didn't turn out so well. Looks like they got some other statues too. I can't pronounce that last name, but here's Dr. John right here. He was a Confederate doctor. I'm getting distracted now, but here's a beautiful, huge old tree. Look at that. Gorgeous. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's not all Civil War. It's not all Confederacy. Here we have James Marion Sims, the father of modern gynecology. Right. It says so right there. I guess I had never given modern gynecology much thought. But why not a statue? Why not? It's not that it's that funny, it's just I wasn't expecting that, that's all. It's crazy. Think about this for a second. Just think about this. This is wild. This place right here was the capital of a foreign country in our country, fighting with our country, that is now part of our country and was our country. Oh, this one's cool. This here is a memorial to law enforcement here. More specifically, those who have given their lives in the course of doing their jobs. That's a really nice touch. I like that. Here we have a memorial for fallen soldiers from Alabama who fought in World War I, which is really cool. I like when we remember the people who did something, you know, for us. Here's a replica of the Liberty Bell. You can actually get right up really close to this one. There's not many Liberty Bells that you can get up this close to. Look, made in France. I just wanted to check and see. Nope. No little dongle thing in there. This I thought was neat. This flagpole here with the Alabama state flag has a little plaque on the bottom that says, "These flagpoles are made of aluminum produced in Northwest Alabama, where the first Reynolds aluminum was made." As a fan of aluminum, I was deeply impressed with that. I'm lying, I don't know what that means at all, but I'm sure that somebody does. Let's see what's over this way. Ooh, look at this. What is this? Some sort of memorial right here. Pretty sure this is a Confederate monument. Oh yes, it's definitely a Confederate monument. It's a memorial to Army, Navy, etc., that fought for the Confederacy. And right here, I don't know if you can read it, it's kind of hard to see. It says, "This cornerstone was laid by Jefferson Davis, president of CSA, April 29th, 1886. See, in the North, after the Civil War, they had this thing called the Grand Army of the Republic, and they would have all these meetups and reunions, and they'd have speeches. They'd have General Grant there, or Sheridan, or Sherman, etc., And in the South, they built monuments to their dead as well. You know, different memorials and events to remember the lost cause. Now, it would be a mistake and very, very easy. It's a very easy trap to fall into the whole thing of, oh, is it right or wrong for this to be here? Growing up in Southern California, the Civil War seems like something that was just really impossibly far away. I mean, you might as well be talking about ancient Rome or Imperial Japan. So maybe I have like a little bit of a different perspective on it than the people who are right in the thick of arguing over stuff like this. But the one thing you can't argue about is its history, and it happened here, and the people that lived here at the time went through it. And it is super important to remember that this stuff happened because you don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past. And also, as much as history is written by the victors, there are people who lost their, you know, family and their loved ones, went off to fight and died. It's something that did happen here, so I don't see that it's wrong to remember it. It's history, it happened, there's no getting around or arguing with that. What it means for our future and how we remember the past, that is up for debate. But I am definitely not someone who's smart enough to navigate those waters. Historical politics, that I can deal with. Modern politics, or how historical politics tie into modern politics, I leave that to you guys and other people somewhere else. It is pretty crazy though to think I'm standing at a state capitol. This place is in charge of Alabama. I had no idea that pulling over to park here, which by the way I accidentally parked in the governor's staff parking on the other side of the building at first by accident, and somebody came out and yelled at me. I had no idea that parking down here and walking around for a couple seconds could be so educational. I am surprised that there's no statue of Martin Luther King down here, because this is where the Selma to Montgomery march ended. There is this marker right here, but I don't know, maybe there's a statue of him inside for all I know. I'm just passing through quickly, I didn't do any research, so if any of you know where there is a statue of him that I could look at in the future, please let me know. Again, just for the record, I'm not ever trying to make any kind of statement by coming to a place like this. I'm just coming to a place like this because it's historical and I happen to be in the neighborhood. It's important not to be divided by our past, but to come together over what we're gonna do in the future. Actually, I just saw a sign up there. Maybe we can do one more detour. It's interesting for me because the part of Southern California where I come from was really all built up in the 50s. I mean, my grandparents lived across the street from Disneyland, which is built in 55. They moved there in 57. So it's hard for me to wrap my head around how conflicting it must be to be a Southerner and be patriotic and love America, but to have had ancestors who fought for the Confederacy. So you want to preserve history and preserve your heritage and stuff. Like this building was the first White House of the Confederacy. But obviously that's like a very loaded issue, you know? I will say this, the cool thing, the good thing that I see about the South now is that I see a much bigger effort to include and preserve and teach about everybody's history and perspective in the scheme of things. Which is why I'm trying to find, not the Confederate White House, that was an accident actually, I'm trying to find the Civil Rights Memorial that I keep seeing signs for and I can't find it. Okay, I think I know where I'm going now. Look at this though. There's so many historical signs all around the old part of Montgomery. These ones are about these historic homes that were lived in by the Doe family for 150 years. That's so crazy. I think it's been more than a century since anyone in any branch of my family lived someplace for more than 20 or 30 years. This is what I was looking for right here though. The Civil Rights Memorial. Look at this monument. This is crazy. And it's honestly kind of gut-wrenching to deal with. It has a bunch of dates here around this fountain, starting with Brown versus Board of Education, and then going around with all these different incidents. Rosa Parks here. A lot of dates like the outlawing of segregation in bus terminals, things like that. But also a lot of incidents where people were violently killed for standing up for what they believed in, or in a lot of cases just for who they were. Honestly, those people back then were so brave. Like, can you imagine when I talk about something I believe in, I go online and type a little comment thing and then people might argue with me? These people, and there's white and black names here, these people were getting literally killed for what they believed in. And this is not that long ago. This is, I mean, this is within a living memory. There are people alive, probably right around here, who remember a lot of this stuff. See, the human species, we are definitely a work in progress still. I know it's easy to focus on the negative, like the conflicts and thinking of how much farther we have to go and all the bad stuff that exists in the world today, and there is a lot. But I really like to, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I like to stop and actually reflect on how far we've already come. As a species, I'm proud of us. We're not perfect, but we're getting better, I think, I hope. The Civil Rights Memorial Center is actually closed at the moment, but still pretty cool to see the outside. I love history, any kind of history, really, from any country or any place, especially any place that I'm going to or have stood at. No, history can be a powder keg here, but as a visitor, a stranger from a strange land here as a guest, I gotta say I like seeing a diversity of perspectives represented. All right, time to go. See, everywhere I look in Montgomery, there's more statues, more historic signs. I wish I had time to explore more, but for the moment, I gotta go. Whoa, that's just weird looking. Look how unusual that is. Weird. No, wait, there's one more thing. Sorry, I was trying to leave town and I noticed this one last thing. Look at this right here. This is Troy University here, and behind me is the Jefferson Davis housing. Here you have the Davis Theater, but right here on this other corner behind me, you have the Rosa Parks Library and Museum. Look at that, isn't that crazy? The reason that's here is because right over here where this sign is, this was the place where Rosa Parks was taken off the bus and arrested. Her arrest right here is what started the Montgomery bus boycott, which is really what launched Martin Luther King Jr. like him to fame and prominence. So it's crazy, just a few hundred yards away is the founding of the Confederacy, and right here is the founding of something completely different. Like, if you were just to drive through here, you would never know that so much history, so much of what shaped and changed America happened in a town like this that honestly is very similar to any other town. Very, very cool. I would really like to come back sometime and spend some more time. You gotta admire Rosa Parks. That's pretty punk rock. I'm not, get up for what? You go to the back. Like, that's crazy. A thing I learned about in school, right there. A thing happened here. See, that's like something from a movie or from TV or from the history book, something dusty and far away, and to stand there and go like, well, this is a real place where real things happened that really changed a lot of things and stuff. Just really blows my mind. I mean, especially how ordinary people can shape the future. I really hope we can learn from those who've gone before us and shape our future in a positive way too. At the moment though, I just hope sleep is in my future. Starting to get a little tired. Been driving through the beautiful state of Alabama all day long, and finally, here I am in Birmingham. Every single previous time I went through Birmingham, I always asked myself, I wonder if I'll ever be back here again and ever actually get to see Birmingham. And I'm wondering that again now. At the moment though, no time for Birmingham, because I gotta keep going towards home. Doesn't look like great weather that direction, but it is what it is. In and out of some pretty serious rain here in Alabama. I don't think Alabama wants us to leave, like ever. They want us to stay forever, like in a death way. You hear that sound right there? The sound of idling semi-truck. I love that sound. When I was in a band, I used to sleep in the van at truck stops and stuff and listen to that sound all night long. Drove through some pretty crazy storms right there. It was pretty wild and intense. Low visibility. The trucks and I were all going like 20 miles per hour. All the regular cars were pulling off under bridges. But once I got out to the other side, look at that. Look at that sunset right there. That is gorgeous. We all hit stormy weather, but if you keep on trucking, you just might get to the beauty on the other side. I think I'm gonna drive a little further and then call it a day. Thank you all very much for being on this trip with me. We'll see if we make it to Mississippi tomorrow. MISSISSIPPI. Twitter, Patreon, Instagram, livefast.spreadshirt.com, all that good stuff. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for being with me. Bye-bye. culture and religion which can really keep you safe out here. For example, when traveling in any foreign land, it is always wise to offer a sacrifice to the local deities to keep you safe. This is so stupid. Who would do
sacrifice? Please do not send.
What the heck? What the heck?
I believe the peanut has been pleased. We may travel in safety now.
Why?